Good morning and top of the morning to you. This is Money Morning. My name's Eric Stewart. Today we're going to be talking with the Honorable Mayor Sheila Dixon, or as I like to call her, Superwoman Dixon. Mayor Dixon was the first African-American female city council president and served there for 2 terms. She had to step in as the interim mayor for Mayor O'Malley when he was elected as governor, and she's done a wonderful job. Mayor Dixon is an amazing story. We're glad to have her as a guest. She's the 48th mayor of Baltimore, and as you all know, she is a female. She's an African-American female, the first ever as a mayor in Baltimore. I don't think that folks realize how wonderful of a job she did, because Baltimore is the most populous city that is governed by a female mayor. So not only is she setting the bar, but she's exceeding it by running a very difficult city to manage. In the upcoming months, we're probably going to see some amazing and dynamic changes that Mayor Dixon has started to implement with a cleaner and greener Baltimore, and also with jobs starting to come back in, commercial development coming in, and home ownership being at the top of her agenda. We knew it was important to have her here on Monday morning. I'm amazed. I am just excited about having Mayor Sheila Dixon here on Monday Morning this morning. Stay tuned with us. Right after the break, we'll be joined by the Superwoman, Mayor Sheila Dixon. See you here in a minute. And welcome back to Monday Morning. My name's Eric Stewart. I'm here with the wonderful mayor of Baltimore City, Mayor Sheila Dixon. Sheila, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for
Shall I
having
say
me.
Mayor Dixon, welcome to the show.
Thank
I
you
apologize.
very much.
You're welcome, and you earned that title fair and square through a tough election, and also had to step right in for Mayor O'Malley when he left us, and you had, what, a 8 or 9 month
9 months to
internship?
Continue to run the, well, it wasn't an internship, but it was really just stepping up. And I think my preparation came over the last, I would say 16, 17 years being on the council, then city council president, and really paying attention to the details of what went on in agencies, understanding the agencies, being on top of many of the changes that have taken place, trying to incorporate policy changes and ideas that I had, and knowing in different departments some of the key projects and initiatives that have been going on. I think that helped me. Paying attention to the details, being very focused, and then taking the same style of philosophy that I had as city council president and as city council person, and just translating it and transforming it into the mayor's position.
It just seems to be a consensus that you really have got this city running and moving in the right direction. What do you attribute this, just so quick of a change
Well,
to?
I think it's a combination. I think the transition and changes started taking place when Martin O'Malley was there, and we worked as partners. It wasn't where the city council was going this way and the mayor was going that way. Okay. We really collaborated, and I think that was part of it. I think the other part of it was the fact that I knew that there were some basic fundamental things that we needed to do in this city in order to keep it moving. One, those initiatives that were going on, you needed to keep those going and not allow it to drop through the cracks. And then 2, I needed people to see my style and my passion for this city in a way that they hadn't before. As a legislator, you're limited. As a mayor, because it's a mayor-controlled city, you really can embrace and bring in your agencies and say, this is the direction that we're going. This is what I want to put forth. So I took a lot of ideas that I had and that I studied as a legislator and said, okay, I have an opportunity to implement these ideas. One being, the city needed to be cleaner. And we needed to step up as city government. People pay a lot of taxes to city government, property tax, businesses, residents. That's why the first act was I went to the sanitation yards and I said to the sanitation technicians in solid waste, we have to lead by example to clean the city up. Let us be out front, show those taxpayers that, one, we are using their money in an effective and a responsive way. We've got to lead by example and show them that the way that these people have pride in their city is by cleaning it and working together.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. You know, then I incorporated the fact that if Baltimore became greener, we already have great parks, and we have a lot of efforts in this city to increase tree canopies, et cetera. But let's make it greener. Let's take city properties that are surrounded by cement and put planters out. We initiated under the O'Malley administration taking the medium strips and bringing them back to making those greener. Let's look at ways that we can collaborate with County Exec Jim Smith, and we started an initiative to get people to grow more trees in their yard. And then the other two factors, which were very key, because crime and grime goes hand in hand.
Indeed.
We needed to change the strategy on how we were approaching crime. Zero tolerance was working to a point, but we needed to gain trust back by the citizens of Baltimore. And so that's why I took the three-prong approach with our crime fighting effort. I said we've got to focus on the most violent offenders, because there's still only a minority of people in this city that are violent and that are committing these crimes.
Yeah, I wanted to address that. How were you able to turn around our crime numbers so drastically? I mean, you know, folks from the outside looking in across the country are saying, how are these statistics, you know, changing so drastically and dramatically so quickly?
I had a team of people to look at some best practices across the country to assess Baltimore City and who was committing the crimes, to determine that we didn't need to lock up everybody in this city, particularly for nuisance crime. We needed to address them and make sure that they were being responsible citizens, but we needed to focus on the most violent people who are committing crimes over and over and over. And so we came up with a three-prong approach. Focus on the most violent offenders, engage in the community. There was a lot of mistrust from the communities. The presence of officers were not out on the beat, knowing who the neighbors were, vice versa.
Indeed.
Talking to them, letting them know that they were real, that they were people, that they had the same sensitivities, that they wanted the same needs for their families as the residents do, gaining that trust back. And then the third, which for me was significant. You know, there's been some issues with partnership. You know, the state's attorney and the prime administration didn't see eye to eye. Well, you know, Pat Jessamy is a great person in her own right. The state, through the governor who knew that crime was important in Baltimore City, the federal prosecutors, we all sat down and said, you know what? If we're not going to do this together at each level of government and be committed to reducing crime, then the work that we do is going to be in vain.
Here's an issue. The argument has been made that a lot of times the officers don't have a vested interest in the communities that they're serving and protecting because they don't live in those areas. What has the government done or addressed at this time to encourage those officers to come back into these communities?
You're right, and they go beyond Baltimore County. They go as far as Pennsylvania, Harford County, all over. But what we've tried to do is really to work with housing and community development to come up with incentive programs for police officers. That's police officers, firefighters, and teachers, by giving them an additional incentive to purchase a home in the city. Making
it attractive for those officers to reside where they're protecting and serving certainly is a good initiative, and eMortgage Solutions, always with school teachers and with police officers, we really try to bend as much as we can to make it as favorable for them to be able to, you know, have an easier time, because as we know, home ownership is a struggle for all citizens, and we want to make sure that those teachers and officers are taken care of first. So
maybe there's something that eMortgage and the city can collaborate on.
I'll be happy to look at that. But when we come back, we'll be talking more to Mayor Sheila Dixon. My name's Eric Stewart. We'll see you here in a minute on Monday Morning.